Nature has provided us with miracles and gifts for healing, and to utilize its power, we must first silence media manipulation, throw out the dangerous drugs, and understand the brainwashing of America's healthcare. I'm Audrey Hope, and my guest today, Beryl Nozedar, Beryl's going to have to pronounce the name, is going to share with us her passion for medicinal plants and natural herbs. Beryl is an international speaker on natural herbal remedies, and she's the author of a new book called Beryl's Herbal Bliss. Beryl is also a healer, a tarot reader. She works with iridology, the study of the eyes. She gives workshops on the medicinal value of fruits and vegetables, and she has traveled extensively all over the world to find natural remedies. Welcome. Thank you for traveling so far to get here. You are so passionate about all this. The herbs, the weeds. You wrote a book called Herbal Bliss. You said to me you're wild about weeds. Why are you so passionate about this?
The passion started when I was only a little girl, when I was 3. And my father introduced me to the weeds that he gave to his birds. And he tells me that the weeds help them to sing beautifully. And during my life, I worked in a situation where I found that the orthodox medicine was very expensive. I had a health shop. And so I started looking at what I could get from the ground. This morning my passion was aroused when I went into the garden and picked this darling little weed which grows so prolifically here. This is actually chickweed. It's edible, it helps in weight loss, and it also cleanses the blood. The Latin name for it is Stellaria media.
You have a picture.
And this is a picture of it. The reason it's called Stellaria media is because you can see the little plants have got stars on them.
I see that.
And it grows in the spring. And of course, spring is a time when we should look to cleansing the blood. This is just one of the darling little herbs that grow so well in the American soil.
Beryl, there's so many myths about herbs, and we're so afraid, but it's been used for thousands of years. I mean, is Orthodox medicine coming up with, are they accepting it more?
Well, it was really quite interesting because Orthodox medicine started by using the herbs, and then they changed to using more chemicals. But they first started off by using things like the digitalis, which was the foxglove.
Which was about in the 17th century.
My passion has been on the weeds. I have another little darling weed. I love my weeds.
Yes.
Which is the dandelion.
My God, there are so many things that you say in your book about dandelion. I mean, I have it here, and this is especially good for my mom who has all these problems. Okay, you say it's the best blood purifier, it's a liver cleanser, it helps constipation. Its leaves, you say, are high in potassium.
That's correct.
And it's also a diuretic, which is better than buying pharmaceutical diuretics because you lose the potassium that we do.
Precisely.
And you also say, okay, it's good for diabetes, constipation, and it helps night blindness. And it destroys harmful acids, and it's the liver cleanser. All that.
And particularly at this moment, a lot of people have liver problems because of all the pollutants, all the pesticides, all the preservatives in food. So we're needing to do a liver cleanse each year in the spring. This was done naturally at one time. Everyone would cleanse the liver. And of course the dandelion, it grows in everyone's backyard.
Wow, fascinating.
The Romans wouldn't march unless they had dandelion. And the French call it pissenlit, which means pee the bed. And so that's how it's got its name as a diuretic.
No kidding. This is fascinating. So we could just go in our own backyard, pick it, and solve all these problems.
The benefit, the leaves can be eaten in your salad. The roots, if that's dried, can be used as coffee. You can actually make a coffee substitute from the root. And the root helps the liver, and the leaves cleanses. You can actually use the flowers. You can fry them in batter and use them as a vegetable.
Really? So we're using absolutely every part of that plant.
And the benefit of the dandelion is the roots go deep into the soil and they get all the nutrients, so it's full of all your vitamins and minerals that you need. Well, mainly minerals.
Okay,
from
what
the
else
soil.
do you have? So I have all these fascinating, even the common herbs, echinacea and
Well, my favourite one is this. It's the red clover. When I was a little girl, my mother was worried about me because I wouldn't eat, and she would find me going into the garden next door and eating the red clover. And apparently the red clover was for undernourished children. And so I just automatically knew how to take this herb from the ground when I was a little girl. So, and this one they've actually just found out that it contains estrogen. So
Really?
it's beneficial for women who are going through the menopause.
Oh my, this is wonderful.
And it's darling, it just tastes like honey. It's wonderful. The flowers, you eat the flowers of this one and pull the little petals out and suck the bottom, and it's absolutely...
We're going to talk about that later when we're talking about some, solutions for some women's problems.
Fine. One of the things that we don't realise, a lot of herbal medicines are within our own kitchen cupboard. And who would realise that the common potato has got so many benefits? It can be grated and put onto wounds to heal them. And it also draws out foreign bodies from the skin too. If you had a piece of glass in your skin, or if you had a splinter, you can grate the potato, put it in between a couple of pieces of gauze, put it onto your wherever the problem is, wrap it, and the next morning it will have drawn out the splinter.
Wow.
So, and it's very alkaline. Even eating the raw potato is alkalizing for the body. It's great for arthritis and other conditions that need...
Let's talk about garlic. I mean, unbelievable. Okay, this is the information you give. Effective against 9 antibodies, which resist bacteria. It lowers bad cholesterol by 12% and raises the good by 12. It, in 1989, the National Cancer Institute said people who have a clove of garlic a day 40% less likely to get cancer.
Precisely.
And it's antibiotic and antiseptic, and it's an antibacterial, antiviral, a diuretic, fights infection, virus, bacteria, and we can put it on the soles of our feet.
Precisely.
So,
It's also called Russian penicillin.
wow.
But one of the things with the young children, often you can't give them medicines internally. And so by getting a clove of garlic and slicing it and brushing it on the soles of the feet, it's actually absorbed through the nerve endings in the soles of the feet. And in Egypt, I'm led to believe that the way they found out whether a woman was fertile or not was brushing the soles of the feet, and if you could smell the garlic in her breath within half an hour, she was fertile, because it travels through the body very quickly.
Wonderful.
And of course you can make it into a lot of different remedies. You can slice it and you can put it into honey, which it makes it more palatable, because the sulfur in garlic can often affect people's digestive system.
Okay, now let's talk about these onions.
Okay.
I have hidden here because they are smelling so powerful. Okay.
Now, the darling onion, I've sliced this and I've put it in honey.
Yes.
And if you have a ticklish cough on a night time, you can slice the onion. Usually you leave it there for about half an hour. And then you sip the honey. This will cure anything. It keeps the bugs away,
God.
believe me. But the onion can be cooked, and it can be made into a poultice to put on the chest for things
Right,
like...
instead of using Vicks vapor rub,
Yes.
which could be harmful.
Yes.
Vicks vapor rub, right? It's
Because when it's heated, it's absorbed through the skin. And of course you're inhaling it at the same time. So the onion is part of the garlic family too. They're both of the same family. And it's the sulfur in them that cleanses the blood. And this is why you get the smell from it. We're smelling sulfur here, which is great for the sinuses.
I know, it's clearing my sinuses. Okay, I want to talk about some common problems. I wanted to sort of help my family. My mother, for example, she has problems with constipation, and she has problems with hemorrhoids. What can she do? What can she use out of all of this to help her?
With constipation, you're looking at several things here. Sometimes the bowel doesn't move as well as it could do, and there can be habitual constipation. She may have been constipated from a child. But basically it's to do with the liver, and most of the problems that we have today are liver related. So you would work on bringing more bile into the body, which then helps to promote a better motion. And of course in Africa where I live, there's no constipation there because we found a different way of toiletry habits, which...
Somebody's turning on now. I think, what are those women talking about, right?
And so there's no constipation in Africa.
Because of the position.
And of course, hemorrhoids are caused by constipation.
Right, of course. So what do you recommend for hemorrhoids?
With hemorrhoids, you can use witch hazel. Witch hazel is an astringent which tightens any lax tissues. But there's also a dietary thing. There's often a lack of calcium with the body when you have trouble with hemorrhoids. But if you cure the constipation, you're curing the hemorrhoids too.
Right, exactly.
Or alleviating the
And what about
hemorrhoids.
arthritis? You say arthritis can be healed.
Okay. Arthritis is mainly an acidic condition of the body. And so you need to neutralize that. A lot of our health problems today are because we're too acidic. Your body is made mainly from fluid, and your blood is alkaline. And so we should be eating 80% alkaline foods to 20% acid, and we usually eat the other way around. We eat a lot of acidic foods. So you neutralize the acid in the body. First of all, you can drink a lot of water, but then you can use apple cider vinegar, which alkalizes too. So a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons, if you can take that first thing in the morning, really help to alleviate that. And of course your dandelion, because your dandelion helps to break down the crystals, especially if you have them in the end of your fingers. Because this is often where, you know, there's two different types of arthritis. You've got your rheumatoid and you've got your osteoarthritis. The osteo is by wear and tear, but the rheumatoid is often helped tremendously by dietary changes.